Welcome to another episode of Late Nights with Dr. G. You have questions, I have answers. Welcome, everybody. Anyway, this episode is going to be awesome, mainly because I have my first guest, and I'm excited about that. Hey, I'm a little guy, but it's a big world, okay? Listen to me. Anyway, my guest, awesome guy. He's a great friend of mine, and I really should call him Slash, because after I tell you what he does and what you're like, wow, how does he have even time to go to the bathroom, right? Okay, he's a husband. He's a father of 9, count them, 9, that's right. And he is a brand and social media strategist, like for the last 10 years. Now, 9 years of that was as a meta partner. His company is called Brand Alchemy. He's a founder of that. It's an awesome strategy type company for people that are looking for social media and branding. Additionally, he's also the founder of Valley Bio. This is an exclusive distributor for some of the best peptides in the US, which is close to my heart, because I'm the medical director of Valley Bio. So we'll get into that too as well. And then thirdly, which I'm already winded because he still has so much to do, he's also the co-founder of FaceMD. Now, this is a cadaver anatomy academy. And that's just awesome. I want to learn more about that. So stick with us and watch us, because this is going to be a good episode. Hey guys, I'm Dr. George Armendariz. Jay, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, brother. I'm doing great.
Awesome. Well, I needed to
happy to be here.
I needed to give you that kind of introduction, because man, you're on fire. You are on fire.
I have to stay busy, man.
So what's been going on? What lately? I mean, you have Brand Alchemy, you have Valley Bio, you have your FaceMD. Tell us a little bit about each one of those. It's awesome, the people you work with, not only just cosmetic surgeons and various other aesthetic surgeons, but you work with some pretty darn famous people. So you got to get into that at least a little bit.
Okay.
And so just tell us a little bit about what you do and those particular companies that you work with, and we can kind of go from there.
Yeah. So I started in social media and brand strategy. Pretty much everything I've done my entire life has been an effortless kind of like journey and transition from one thing into another. I don't normally search it out. It just comes to me. The opportunity presents itself. Sometimes it's an opportunity in something I'm doing. And then sometimes that opportunity actually, ends up being change and in a whole different industry. I got into social media and brand strategy because I was in web and app development. Just so happened to meet my first client. He's my longest running client, one of my closest friends. It's comedian and actor D.L. Hughley. So started doing web and app development for him. This is the time where everybody was using push notifications. I was using them in a very outside of the box way, and getting some extraordinary results. And I just used what I did there towards social strategy. He gave me a shot at managing his social and actually building a brand for him. It's weird, man, because a lot of people don't realize that they are the brand themselves.
No,
right?
I could imagine, yeah.
Yeah, so you're working with somebody and they're thinking about all these other things that they do, and the thing that they do is what they feel is the brand, but they forget that that's their face. I think a lot of times that comes into perspective when something bad happens, right?
Yeah,
because at that point, nobody's talking about a movie or a show or a product. They're talking about that person. And I just thought of that just now. So initially I had to tell him, you are the brand, right? And so we started building the brand from there. I found the holes on where he was lacking, and we built from there. Social strategy just came as a common sense approach to me, but I started using some foundations that I had from my background in advertising, things that I've learned in web and app development, started using those in social, and we became like, at one point, like we hover between like the 3rd and 5th highest organically engaged accounts on Meta. I mean, if you look at, that accounts for literally billions of impressions on a $0 budget.
That's incredible. See, that right there excites me, especially I'm paying all this money for paid ads and Google ads and Lord knows all sorts of things. And, you know, there's a marketing company for every little thing saying, oh, I can make you do this. I can get you 1 million views. I can do that. But it's not necessarily organic. And so that's very exciting that you were able to do that.
Yeah, organic is where it's at, man. You know, we were talking before the show, and I liken it to like a good brisket, right? You're a Texas boy. You know about brisket, right?
Hell yeah.
So a good brisket, you know, is like low and slow, right?
Yep.
And sometimes organic, you know, because it's a slow grind, people want it now. They want the results now. And there's ways to go about that. Paid, unfortunately, man, paid is like you have to feed that monster. Once you keep that thing going, you have to keep it going. And that same monster cannibalizes everything that you've built organically.
Yeah.
So another thing we talked about before the show is like, if you think about it, let's reverse it a little bit. Let's say you take this bodybuilder, right? And he's like using steroids. He's going to gain all this mass. He's going to be big. You know, he's going to have all these muscles, right? That's your organic strategy. Let's just say that, right? If he took a 3-month, 6-month break off of those steroids, what would happen to his physique?
He's going to get little.
Right? And then he would have to start all over again.
He's going to have small wells también.
Okay, so when he takes that break, that's like you running an ad, right?
No, that is
small huevos.
Small huevos.
Yeah. So,
if y'all don't know what that is, that's testicles. Anyway.
So that's what happens, man.
Yeah.
And so for me, you know, I think the value that I bring is not just the fact that my clients operate on a zero budget, but just the fact that we're building something that's true and that's going to last. You know, so that's the important thing for me is adding value to something that, you know, for something that's going to last. Man,
that's freaking great. And for me, I understand that because Lord knows I'm spending a bunch of money on Facebook, which, you know, it's good and bad. And, you know, that's one reason I'm like, man, Jay, I need some more info. I got to know how to do this right.
And no, ads are great, man. Don't get me wrong. They do have value. If you use them correctly. I mean, there's definitely value there in using ads. I just always advise it shouldn't be your only strategy, right? Yeah. We're at a point in time where nobody wants to be sold anymore, right? Yeah. And so my background in sales has always been a consultative approach. You know, I'm a people guy. I'm an energy guy. Yeah. I make a friend everywhere I go. I have a piece of art that this guy literally came up to me and gave me just off of like how I look today. He's like, dude, you have great energy, man. I've just been watching you. He's like, can you take this art from me? Look the guy up. He's like a really big artist, right? So awesome. he gave me this cool print to take with me. But you know, that approach, that type of approach is, to me, is where we're at now. Long gone are the days of like a Kardashian holding something up and saying, you should buy this. And then everybody runs to buy it. Now it's more of like the everyday influencer who somebody can connect with through that screen. Yeah. And it resonates with them and they feel that emotional attachment. That's where the gold is, right? So like your everyday influencers, you know, you as a doctor, you know, taking somebody's story and telling it from 2 years ago to now, showing that progress. Somebody on the other end of that screen is going to resonate with that real woman or that real man that had that problem that I have more than if I see this, you know, this famous celebrity I've seen do the same thing for 5 other brands. Yeah.
And people get it because they're like, oh, they're just selling something. They're just selling something. And I, you know, as physicians, especially doing what we do, especially in aesthetics and such, you know, if we could get somebody like a Kardashian or or anybody famous for that matter that a lot of people know, it does help, but it is so short-lived. It's what resonates more with people is saying, you know, seeing somebody that has a similar outcome or a similar problem and they've either fixed it or they've gotten better or whatever. And I think that resonates more. And I'm slowly learning that, you know, we've had conversations about like doing before and afters or doing, you know, a story, or should we, you know, just get in front of a camera and talk about it. And sometimes all of those are good, but it has to be real. Yeah. You know,
one of the biggest things in social that, you know, there's so many things that have changed. The one thing that hasn't changed is the most valuable thing is telling the story, right? That has not changed. And so I may not connect with the guy on the other end, with the way he looks. I may not connect with his lifestyle. I may not connect with a bunch of things, but his story might be the exact thing I connect with, right? So that guy might tell a story and he might be jacked and all these other things. I'm like, man, I don't connect with him on that level, right? I'm getting there. I promise, Doc, I'm getting there.
Oh, we're going to get you there. We're going to get you there.
But on his story, right? That's going to be the emotional draw for me. And the story is so big, right? I think a lot of times with brands also, whether it be a physician, a surgeon, or, you know, a product, the origin story for me is the biggest part, because we've all met Batman and Iron Man and even the villain, the Joker. We've all met them where they are, right? Our whole lives, we've known them as that. But the most intriguing, the most engaging, the most compelling part of that story is how they became that, right? And then you're looking, you're like, oh my gosh, so hold on, Bruce Wayne became Batman because the Joker shot his That's the part where you're like, oh snap, like
exactly.
Nobody expected that, right? Like that is true. Yeah, that's the most compelling part. So imagine that, but with your story.
Yeah.
Imagine the whole story of how, you know, how you decided, you know what? The whole cocktail thing and Tom Cruise, you know, that was this guy back in the day. Yeah. No, I'm just playing. Well, no, but
I tried to be.
No, but that whole story about how and why you got into medicine.
Yeah.
The how and why on how you transitioned from being an anesthesiologist into getting into longevity and regenerative medicine. That's the draw, dude. That's like what really gets somebody and lets them know, like, and sometimes it's another thing, right? It's like, hey, this guy's not just in it because it's a fad or a trend or because it's a high, you know, high dollar ticket. This guy's real about this stuff. He really believes in it.
Yeah.
So that story, man.
And it's great that you say that, you know, because I've had a handful of patients that have, as an example, have these, you know, pretty darn good bodies. You know, and they just need a little tweak here and there. And that's great. And this is kind of why, you know, you look at a lot of surgeons and they're like, oh, I'm only going to work on these people. Well, they barely weigh anything. They got a little puff here and there. And, you know, they don't require a lot. But some of the patients that have lipedema that I've worked with, and they just have very large legs or very large areas of their body that we have to sometimes treat them 2, 3, even 4 times. Their faces, when they're so happy, when they're like, oh my God, I can see my knee now. Or, you know, my ankles they're my ankles because it was a big, large area, swollen leg. And so that probably means more to me as a physician than, you know, making somebody, you know, they look already good.
You know, six-pack
don't get me wrong. I like doing that because it's cool.
Yeah.
But that person was already had they have a pretty good body already, or they're not overweight or anything. It's the people that, you know, they've had it rough because either stress or what have you, and then having a condition like that lipedema patients, you know, they just, you know, get very large areas. Mostly it's in the lower extremities, but sometimes they have it in the belly and in the arms and things of that nature. And we treat them accordingly. And I think we get a better response from them because it's about their story.
Dude, it's life-changing.
Their journey. Yeah.
It's life-changing.
Truly, it is.
I would gamble to say there are more people on that side of the spectrum than there are like, okay, well, you know, I'm at single digit body fat.
Yeah.
You know, let me go get some ab etching done. I would say that there are, and those people, like you said, those people get disqualified by a lot of doctors. They're like, I don't want to mess with that. Trust me, I've been in that world. A lot of doctors are, hey, this BMI or this or this, that. I don't want to mess with it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's sad because those people really need it the most. It's not a want for them. It's a need.
Yeah. So and you know, like and we'll get to, you know, you founding, you know, Valley Bio, because that's an awesome story on that. And more so about what we're bringing to the table with Valley Bio. That's what's kind of cool. But more importantly, using as an example, those GLPs and I'm, for one, you know, those originally were made for people that were morbidly obese or had, you know, type 1 or type 2 uncontrolled diabetes, and going back to, they were larger patients, okay, and it made sense to put them on GLPs. And then you have all the kind of famous celebrities kind of pushing it to make it, I got 10 or 15 pounds to lose, and they lose it, but then, you know, there's repercussions. You get droopy face, you know, droopy butt, you know, whatever, you know, and I was like, the guy want, I don't think anybody who's relatively fit or maybe just has 10 or 15 pounds to lose should take it. Now I've kind of changed that as we've talked about those different GLPs, especially the third generation GLPs that can do a whole lot more and that do so much more than just losing weight. It actually, what it does to fat metabolism, what it does to even gaining strength and gaining more muscle, helping you if you have an urge to drink more or do any type of, drugs even. It really gets your urge to not do things like that, which is kind of crazy. And if you do it in a micro dosing, and we talked about that.
This is what I do.
Man, it's pretty awesome. And for people that are larger, obviously, but also people that are smaller. And so I want to get in a little bit about why did you feel that you wanted to be a part of a company? You're working with all these surgeons, you're working with all these famous people doing all their brand and their social media stuff. Why did you want to kind of pivot a little bit? It's pivot in the sense, I know you were already working with a lot of surgeons, but doing their, building up their brand, building up their clinics. Why did you want to pivot to do something like Valley Bio, which focuses on peptides and things of that nature?
So initially, like the opportunity came across, we were having a conversation. My uncle, thank you so much, Theo James, brought me into a conversation with some partners of his, and it was a branding call, right? And once I found out about what it was, I started looking into it. I was like, man, this is next level. Like most things, the general public, if you don't know, you don't know, right? And so once I found out, and it wasn't just about the opportunity to have the access or anything like that, because let me tell you, the nepotism ended at the opportunity, and I'm still I'm grateful for the opportunity, but still, like I have to make it work, right? And so after looking into this, I'm like, this is life-changing stuff, but it was a personal thing too. Because I was like, man, this is something I need this is something my wife needs in her life. She suffers from autoimmune, I have, certain health issues, even certain things like with our family, like, we're the only country in the world that doesn't classify dementia as type 3 diabetes, right? So those GLPs that we just talked about, they also have neurological benefits, right?
Absolutely.
So some of these things really hit home. And so I tried to figure out with them how I could find a place in this. And the first couple, swings at the bat weren't a good fit for what we talked about. And so I came back to the table again with something that I thought would be a good match for both of us. And it turned out to be a great fit. And then from there, we pivoted and decided, hey, we don't want to just be a part of this. We want to be fully in, right, at Valley. So now we went from kind of being a facilitator and basically funneling business to being soup to nuts. So now, other than manufacturing, we handle everything. We handle the entire thing. And so for me, the more that I learn, because I'm a student of this as well, right? I learned from you. I learned from, we went to the World Peptide Congress. I'm learning every day. It's literally the white noise in the background of my home on almost every TV. I put it on, and whatever my daily work is or wherever I'm at, there's either one device or one TV that's just dedicated to peptides.
And that's great because subconsciously, even if you're not really paying attention, it's getting in your head.
It's
somewhere. It's there.
I promise you, especially, if you I'm constantly watching the same ones over and over again, at least 3 times, and then I'll let it move on to the next one. But the more that I learn, the more beneficial I realize it's not just about the things that we hear all the time, which obviously are the GLPs, which some people are surprised that GLP is a peptide. That's what the P is in GLP. It's peptide, right?
Yeah.
So the more that I learn, the more I realize we are changing people's lives, man.
Oh,
and that's a great feeling, dude. That's a great feeling.
Totally. For me, I feel the same way, especially with the peptides. On previous podcasts that I've had, I've said that medicine's going to change so much, and these amino acids, these peptides that we take or inject in and out, they're what we were talking about, having tinctures or oral methods that that you can, even certain kind of these discs that you can place on your body and absorb through your skin. A lot of these work really, really well. Now, some of them are better than others, and for particular types of peptides, some are better than others. But for the most part, they pretty much work. And I think any person, like I was talking with a patient that was doing some pain management stuff, and listening to what the doctors have, and I'm a pain management doctor.
Yeah.
I was for 15 years, and I just don't do it as much. And that's why I just kind of pivoted and started doing more so all regenerative. And they give them all these different medications, and specifically it wasn't just the pain docs. It was more so the rheumatologist for these autoimmune disease that she had. And I just said, hey, have you ever tried BP 157? Have you looked into utilizing EBU, which is that extracorporeal blood oxygenation and ozonation? It's kind of an oil change for your blood, and things of that nature. And she was just like, no, I've never heard of these things. And so telling her about it, she actually started crying. I was like, I was just talking to her. I wasn't even, we weren't
life-changing.
Yeah,
dude.
It was crazy.
Life-changing. I mean, she was crying because she, a lot of things that happen is, it kind of keeps us circling the drain, right?
Yeah.
And listen, I would never self-diagnose, but I used to have severe problems with GERD and reflux.
Yeah.
I mean, it was terrible. I would eat, and I would say an hour or two later, I'd have undigested food right back up in my mouth.
Oh.
It was so bad. And then I had to avoid things that I love, like chocolate, orange juice and things like that, anything acidic, whatever. So when we went to get, for me to get checked out, I did everything from ultrasounds. I meant they went up from the bottom, they went down through the top.
Oh, yeah.
Literally everything. And the only thing that I got back off of that was a ton of meds that they wanted me to take. And I'm not a medicine guy.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like not being in control of my body. It's just something that I've never, maybe it's my Navy days, dude, because everything was, ibuprofen.
Yeah, that's it.
Give you ibuprofen for anything.
If Tylenol and ibuprofen don't work, you're like, I can't help you.
That was it, right? So for me, maybe it's a subconscious thing.
Yeah.
I just don't like it, right? So I decided to figure out certain things. So I tried vegetarian, not vegan, vegetarian for a while. Made it worse. I actually gained weight.
Yeah.
Right? Because I was eating all these carbs and all this other stuff. Finally, I decided to just try and change my diet and be more conscious of what I was eating.
Yeah.
I can't tell you the last time, and I can, eat a pepperoni pizza or whatever.
Yeah.
I can't tell you the last time I've had reflux and GERD. No joke.
See, that's great. And that's how, this is the thing. Patients come to physicians and they want us to fix them. And I get that. And that's true. And we're there to do that. But we're really not supposed to fix them. We're supposed to educate them enough to fix themselves. And now, granted, there might be a medication or a procedure that we can do to help with that. Okay. And I think more and more people, which is a good thing. I don't like people going to Dr. Google, Now you got Chat GPT-4 and Gronk and a whole bunch of other things.
Yeah.
And those guys, don't get me wrong, they're incredible. They're doing some really cool stuff, but they're not 100%. And so anytime that people, research whatever their issue is and they think, oh, I think I know what's wrong, you got to make sure that you talk to your physician,
Absolutely.
the one that knows you, even if at least you can say, look, I talked to my physician. And if that physician doesn't listen, then you need to find another physician that will, because more and more of these physicians are changing to where they're understanding, I got to really take care of the core issue. A lot of people, we talk about an MD, that's what's called an allopathic medicine. Allopathic means we treat the disease.
Okay.
And osteopathic treats the disease by treating the patient as a whole. And naturopathic is strictly treating a patient by natural means, either an herb or food or whatever. And, more and more, especially as I'm doing kind of more functional medicine, because this is what that is, I feel as though the osteopathic way kind of works in the sense that you have to treat the main reason of why that patient has whatever they have. And then you have to try to find a way to treat the core problem rather than the symptoms. And most doctors treat symptoms, and that's and so we're reactive instead of proactive. And I think more and more people are slowly becoming more proactive. And that's, for me, that's why one of the reasons why I'm just like, you got to do regenerative medicine in some form. There's a lot of ways you can do it. Using your own blood, using your own stem cells, whatever, maybe using amniotic stem cells. It's really up to you, but there's a lot of things you can do. And so that aspect of it is good, how you were able to rid yourself of that GERD. A lot of people don't do that, but the problem is a lot of people are already on a bunch of medications for something else that are causing GERD, because that's a major symptom or side effect of a lot of different drugs, which kind of sucks, on the whole.
I mean, there's benefits to medicine out there. I'm not saying all medicine is bad.
Yeah, no.
I'm just saying the ones that just kind of keep you like, on that edge where you're still having it, but it's not as bad. Dude, I couldn't live like that, man. I didn't want to. There had to be something.
Yeah.
And if it meant that I had to give up some certain thing forever for a quality of life, I was willing to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
So no, I don't think that all medicine is bad, but that phrase that you used was what I was looking for earlier, where they treat the this, not the that.
Yeah.
That's where it's at, dude.
Yeah. No, we always have to get to the core of the problem and why you're having these symptoms. Now, sometimes, even with ChatGPT or even some of the smartest doctors, you just can't, you just can't do it. And somebody goes to, some other type of doctor or non-doctor, I don't know, and they figure out something. I don't know. Those are kind of crazy things. I think if you do the right things and you try to focus on what's going to be the healthiest for you, you're going to be able to at least bring those side effects or those symptoms that are causing you problems down to a more acceptable level.
Yeah.
Now, getting back to marketing and branding more.
Yeah.
You've been doing this for a very long time, and you deal with a lot of famous people, but also kind of famous surgeons that you work with that are well known, definitely in the medical world, depending on whatever their specialty is. But they're also well known on Instagram or Facebook or one of those some of those. Yeah. How do you see physicians nowadays? Their marketing and their branding, we talk about cosmetics and aesthetics because that's, I do that and you deal with a lot of those guys, but I'm talking about your family doctor or your internal medicine doctor or your GI doctor. How can those type of doctors kind of build their brand on, because it's always a referral type of system. And I've worked with that, especially with pain management. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
How has that changed with social media and branding as a whole?
Well, this is the best time for them. Actually, it's the best time for anybody, but for somebody like that, where I hear people sometimes say, "I don't know if that would work for me." They feel like their field of expertise or their business is not sexy enough.
Yeah,
it's not going to be a draw for social. This is the best time. You want to know why? Education is huge.
Yeah,
it is huge. The second part to that is, along with that whole thing, and I'm not knocking the Kardashians. I'm just saying they probably made the most off of that market back in the day. But the other part of this is people like low tech wins.
Yeah.
Low tech wins. You look at a guy like Keith Lee, right? I mean, this guy it still does. And even now, he's made it, right? Millions of dollars in revenue, brand deals, everything. Nothing about his strategy or the quality of his content has changed. It's still blurry. It still looks like it was done on a Nokia. His zoom ins are terrible, right? Nobody cares. They don't care. You want to know what they care about? The message. You want to know what they care about? The education. And in his case, the education is the food he's eating.
Yeah.
You don't think of it that way, right? You're thinking this as education, right? Oh, I want to see what this guy has to say about these wings. It's never just about the wings for him. It's the story about that person. He's educating you on the background of that person, what they are, what they mean to the community.
Yeah.
He's also talking about what's in that food, right? So that's still a form of education. Right now, education is huge. So you see this trend of these doctors where they're doing like 1 to 10. for these cosmetic products, 1 to 10 on these cosmetic procedures, 1 to 10 on lifestyle hacks or any of these things, right? It's education.
Yeah.
It's
just,
it's edutainment, right?
That's good.
It's educating and it's entertaining at the same time, right? And so people are locked in on these things, right? There's this one doc that my wife loves. He's I believe he's a cosmetic plastic surgeon. I believe so. He's got this really cool lighting in the background. He wears these like big frame glasses, and he talks very frankly, right?
Yeah.
But I love his approach. Now, the conversation is entertaining. The things he's saying is entertaining. He's talking about different celebrities and don't be fooled by this. Edutainment, man. So for those doctors to teach you about, what's going on with your gut, or what are 5 things to do when flu season is approaching. Yeah. All of those things, let me tell you, there's so much value in that content because people are looking for it. They're looking for it on ChatGPT.
Oh, yeah.
They're looking for it on WebMD. Make sure that they get it from you, right?
Yeah.
So have those conversations. Make that content. As great as all this is, right? This is all you have to do right here. Right, this is all you have to do.
I remember you telling me that, and I have to get off my ass and do that because that's the kind of the most. It's funny because I've kind of gotten away just because of life and gotten busy and doing other things. But when I first started with my clinic, I was doing a lot of just talking and doing a lot of goofy stuff and kind of funny stuff. Because now I went, people see me as being serious, and that's true, and you need to be that way, but I do have to show more of my personal, kind of the personality within me.
Lifestyle, dude.
Yeah.
Show that you're a real person.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And that some of the things that you not just talk the talk, but that you walk the walk, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If I was a FMP or, family doctor or any of those things, right? Any of the things that I'm talking about with my audience, dude, I'd be showing when I'm on my morning walk, or when I'm grabbing a cup of coffee or matcha, or I'm having my lunch, or I'm out letting my kids play on the playground. Any of those things. I mean, there's so many lessons in that. It's like, hey, how many times did we play as kids? Did we go in and wash our hands, every 5 minutes? Yeah. No, like those germs actually helped our immune system, right? So again, that's something, this is stuff just off the top of my head, but watching your kids play and using that for content, not just... People overthink it. Yeah.
And I do too. I definitely do too. And then you're like, well, I want to still be professional. I want to do that. But sometimes you just can't. And sometimes the most views that I got were just these kind of off the cuff, crazy stuff.
Yeah, because it was you being you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's where it's at. So, for that, for that family doctor, that GI doctor, those things that, podiatrist, those things that people don't think are flashy and sexy, like these cosmetic surgeons and all the cool stuff they do. Trust me, dude, you have a bigger audience. There are more people out there with the problems that you're facing every day, with the problems they're facing every day that are coming to you, than the people that are like, I want to look snatched.
Yeah, no, and that's and that's true. I
promise you, dude.
That is, I love that you said that, because there are a lot of, man, sometimes we used to get tons of patients just because of, they're like, look, I know I'm not going to be, perfectly snatched, or I'm not going to have these washboard abs or perfectly flat. So I'm good with that. I just want to be able to wear tighter clothes and be a little bit more comfortable. Or they want to wear shorts. I haven't worn shorts for 15 years, 20 years, or whatever, because they have these larger legs, and not just a little bit larger legs. They have very large legs, for various reasons. And you're right. And it kind of goes back to just hearing what you're saying, where, sales 101, stories sell and facts tell. Yep. And so you want a story in anything you're talking about. And if you don't look for the sell, it's going to sell itself, because the story sells it, depending on whatever you're selling. Yeah. And with medicine, it's all about outcomes and how a journey or a life has changed for the better with whatever you're doing for them. And so I think that's great. That's a great point. You've heard it first here, that what you call it, edutainment.
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 There it is.
We're gonna write that one down.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're TNM. Tim and that one. That's pretty good. I like that.
That's my answer for those guys. Just make the content, dude.
Yeah.
And you know what? Don't get caught up in, well, we did that video and it had 2 views. Everybody starts at 2 views. Everybody.
I remember reading somewhere, God, Lord knows, you're always getting so much stuff inundated with TikTok and Instagram and stuff like that. So I don't know what's real and what's not. But they say, you keep on, and you told me this. You're like, look, some of them, you're going to get like 20 views. You ain't hardly anything. But actually how apparently the algorithm, and I want to get to this with you, this question, how the algorithm kind of, if you stop and try to change everything, it ain't going to work, and it's going to kind of reset. So you need to keep posting, even though you may have some that are horrible or they just don't get any insights or any views, anything. You got to keep posting. So on that, how do you work that algorithm? How did you figure out that algorithm to get that 30 million views and up to 1 billion if you add all of the people that you worked with? How did you get how did you look in and say, oh, I know what this algorithm wants?
So
how'd you figure that out?
Number one, I looked for the holes, right? One of my clients, when I got with him, had less than a 20% women audience, right? Mm-hmm. But I know that women are, they drive everything, right? They drive how the money's spent. They drive the market in so many things, from fashion to culture to all these things, right? And I'm like, for me, it was like, I always had the foresight of brand deals and collaborations and all these things. And I'm like, if we have a hyper masculine audience, we're not going to get there, right? So I started championing women's causes, women's things, but authentically, right? Authentically as him, right? Mm-hmm. So championing these women causes, these women athletes, these different things, and doing it from a genuine standpoint, because this client I'm talking about is the most lovable chauvinist you'd ever meet. No, I'm serious. A lot of people call it old fashioned, but he really is that way. He's like, hey man, I'm the breadwinner. I want my wife to, handle these things, and she can go off and do whatever she wants. Him doing that allowed her to get two master's degrees.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And start her own company, right? So she didn't have the pressure of, let me, I need to contribute in this way, right? So, some things that other people say and not get away with, he does it in such a loving way. Just the way he throws out certain words that are terms of endearment, but some of them are they're old school. He's an older dude. He comes from a different time. So for him, I started championing these causes and pulled in that woman demographic. Right now, his woman demographic is larger than his male demographic.
Oh, wow.
And that's part of the reason why we were able to skyrocket, and build that audience. The algorithm now, let me tell you, is this new algorithm is a very immediate algorithm. You guys need to take notice of this, and I'm sure you have. If you guys have searched anything on social, and if you've clicked it half a dozen times, meaning like you've watched a video, we all go down those rabbit holes where we'll watch another one and then we'll like and save.
But a video similar to the one that you going down that rabbit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like and save or whatever. Wake up the next morning and look at what your timeline and your feed looks like. A majority of it is going to be that content.
Yeah.
Right. And until you've searched or gone to other things, you're going to start seeing it all over. It's going to be on your Explore page. It's going to be everywhere. The benefit of that is we now benefit from that as well by using certain tools such as like trial reels on Instagram.
Yeah.
Right. Trial reels is great. That's not what the team at Meta didn't create trial reels for what it's being used for.
Yeah.
They wanted you to be able to try something out without, I don't want to say being punished for it, but without it negatively affecting your insights.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Because what'll happen is, let's say we put something out and nobody clicks on it, right? Now all of a sudden those percentages that we have on our insights go down. Right. Yeah. So our penetration rate goes down, our views go down, our time viewed goes down. So we're like, dang, man, I was doing good, man. This one video just didn't hit and it dragged everything down. Right. So now what they did was we came out with these trial reels, right? So when you're building a video out and you're getting ready to post the reels, on that menu of things where you have location, all these other things, it has trials on there. That was so that you can kind of toss that out and see how people liked it, but they weren't a part of your audience, right?
Oh, wow. Okay.
So trial reels only go to non-followers. And what everybody benefits most is engaging outside of their audience. If I pulled up one of my clients right now, we have millions of views, millions of in engagement. A third of that is outside of his audience.
Yeah.
There are times where I can get up to 60% outside of his audience. So that means I'm getting 60% of millions on engagement of people that aren't even following him.
Oh, wow.
These are people that don't even, I mean, they probably know of him, but they're not following him. They're not engaged with it. But that content is being clicked on, it's being liked, it's being saved, it's being shared.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's what trial reels was for. It was like, hey, let us give you some slack. You can toss something out, see how people are going to like it. And if you like the results, then you can add it to your feed or timeline. Well, what happened is people started strategically using that to get reach outside of their audience for free.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Because when you build an ad, most of the time that ad is going to people outside of your audience, right? Well, now you're getting it for free. So a cool strategy is if you have content that is done well in the past, right? Repost that content again as a trial reel and just leave it there. Don't even put it back in your timeline. Leave it out there for people that aren't following you. Now you've just introduced that reel to brand new eyes for free.
Oh, hell yeah.
And let me tell you, man, let me tell you something about,
man, that's so cool.
Let me tell you something about old content, right? Because people are like, man, I don't have time for this. You have old stuff on your page. And listen, even my clients that get millions of views, right? That there are still more people that have not seen that content that have, okay? Yep. I don't care if that video has 5 million views. There are still more people that have not seen that video than have, right? So that video is still new to everybody else, right? It's like going on vacation and buying new clothes. Wherever you're going, they've never seen your clothes before.
That's true.
Right? It's still new to them, right? So with that, I would take any of my old content that I had on there, whether it was good or bad. What is it going to hurt? Throw it up in trial reels and let that stuff rip. Right? Let them tell you if they like it or not.
Yeah.
It's not going to hurt, dude. You're putting it on brand new eyes. So that's something that's beneficial to everybody that's free.
Oh, you're going to get a call from me this weekend. I've got a bunch of old stuff that I was like, you know, it is actually kind of good.
Right.
But when I was just starting, I didn't really have as many people. And so obviously it didn't do that well. But we've done that a little bit where we just throw up something that was old, you know, and man, it got so many views. I'm like, damn, that's the same thing. We didn't even change anything.
Or repurpose it. Be like, look at me, all bright-eyed and, you know, whatever.
No,
you could green screen it. You can green screen it like, hey, man, look at me back here. Look at what I said right here. That's crazy. Now, don't get me wrong. This part is still good. But the others, boy, what was I thinking? Or something you were wearing.
Oh, that's
right?
Awesome.
Something you were wearing. You're like, what was I thinking with that? Yeah, so all of that old stuff is still good stuff, dude. Just reuse it.
Yeah.
Even if it's not evergreen, right?
Yeah.
It could be a throwback Thursday, or it could be something that's trending now, right? So let's say something's trending now and you talked about it in the past. You could be like, hey guys, I got one for you. So, you know, such and such is trending right now. I was scrolling through, I was looking through my own feed. I'm going to take you guys back to when I made this video before. Now you're repurposing your own content. I mean, that's easy, dude. You don't have to worry about it. So repurposing content, man, is golden. That one account that I told you about, I would say 90% of the content on that account is repurposed. Wow. 90%.
That is crazy.
I would say, 10% will be the max UGC, user-generated content on that account.
Man, people better pay attention because these are pearls right here.
School, baby.
Man, it's school.
Edutainment. We got edutainment right now.
Where's the TM for that one again? I love that, man. That is so, you know, as physicians, they don't teach us anything like this. I mean, they should. There should be something like this in medical school, maybe just for a day or something like that. But it needs to be something like this because doctors don't know how to I want to say they don't know how to talk to people. They do know how to talk to their patients, but they don't know how to talk about themselves to get more patients. And apparently now that's what you got to do. It's all about that brand.
Listen, you have to. It's social is the gift and the curse, man.
Yeah.
It's great because we have access to so much information that we've never had before. We have access to so much information. The bad side of that is it expires quickly.
Man,
right?
It does. And it makes our, it kind of shoots up our serotonin.
Yeah.
And then we have our attention span is all of,
Absolutely.
I just saw, and sad to say, I just saw that, and I saw this on Instagram, that looking at short form content, small reels, do worse or cause you to have a potential of advanced dementia.
Wow.
More so than like something like smoking or something like, what was the other, alcohol, drinking alcohol.
Wow.
Yeah. And so my wife Renee sent that to me, and she was like, boy, don't be always looking
no more
at
dead
that.
scrolling.
And I was like, you're just scrolling through, and you're like, oh, that's cool. What is that cat doing? Okay, and then you just move it, But anyway, and Lord knows you're going to find a study. And to be fair, I don't even know if it was AI or if it was somebody just, because you just don't know what you're getting because you can get everything.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you don't know. But anyway, that was something that was kind of interesting because I think now we have to use reels and short form content to kind of develop our brand or develop who we are and what we're doing, regardless of what we're doing. And I'm not just talking about being in medicine, I'm talking about for anything.
Yeah. Small bites, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. And people want that. And it has to be small. If it's too long, people are going to
lose them, dude.
You'll lose them.
You'll lose. And that's the sad part, is you almost have to do a part 1, part 2, part 3.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, we were talking about we love trash TV, right?
Oh,
right. So like
love 90 Day Fiance.
Yeah, yes. So what's the one that we're on right now? What's the one with all the singles, right?
Oh, yeah, that's the Hunt for Love.
Hunt for Love.
For Love. Yeah.
So like they'll cut to somebody and you think they're about to say whatever, and then they go to commercial.
And we're sitting there going, what happened?
So that's the thing. You're not getting up, right?
No,
I'm
not getting up.
Yeah. So for me, that always happens when we're downstairs watching, and then he's like, let's go upstairs now. So he's ready to go upstairs, switch TVs, all this. I'm like, no, I want to see what happens first.
Because what's going to happen, I'm going to get caught up in the stairs. Kid's going to stop me. I'm going to start talking, and then I'll miss it. Yep.
There you go. So that's the same thing with our content, right? You got to leave them like
kind of hanging a little bit.
There's what brings them in, right? But then you leave them dangling from that same hook to get to the next one. Oh. And there's an art to it, man. There's an art to it.
That is so true.
I love that.
I love that.
That's the key to that long form now. Is you just gotta put it in the bite-sized pieces, man.
But and it's funny that you say that. Make it part 1, part 2, part 3, because I find myself, if it's interesting content, either if it's on TikTok or it's on Instagram, mostly it's on it. I don't look at my TikTok as much as I do with my Instagram, but they'll do a part 1. And then I think they do it more in TikTok, to be fair. They'll do a part 1 and then you look at it and then it's done. You're like, where the hell's part 2?
Exactly, dude.
And I have to go back and I'm not following them, but I got to go back to find out where, because those guys be like, you know what? I ain't going to place it right next to it. I'm going to place it down a little bit. So they're going to have to look through my content to find part 2, especially if it's an interesting point or whatever they're trying to do. And that is once again, huge pearls, guys.
It is.
I mean, that is
transformation, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, you start showing somebody before and you're like, part 2, I'm going to show you blah, blah, blah. You have them. Yeah. You have them locked, dude, because they want to see how that case ended up.
It's funny you said real fast. I always plan on, like, I'll talk a little bit about a patient and I'll show their befores.
Man, and don't get me started with you.
Yeah, I know.
Don't get me started, dude.
And then people are like, so where's the after? Girl, you got to wait 3 months for that. Maybe even 5. I don't know.
Yes.
Once in a while, I'll get it in a week or a month. We get a pretty cool transformation. But I've actually had not patients, a person, they're the comments going, why'd you even put that up if you didn't even have the after? And I'm like, I can delete that, click, but I mean, I was thinking about it. I was like, maybe I should do that, or at least put it, tune in have them ready.
Yeah.
And then tune in here, same time, same bat channel.
Yeah.
And then they'll come back. They're looking for that transformation.
Yeah.
I don't know. We got to talk more about this. Because now you got me thinking. I'm like, holy moly, man. There's a lot of things I got to do. It's a lot of work. It's like, well, that's your job. But I mean, damn, it is another job. Dude. And I think a lot of docs, we get through working, if we have a long day or whatever we're doing, and just like, the last thing I want to do is get up on there and do some of that stuff. But you got to treat it as part of your job that you just got to do it. Even if it's only for at least 30 minutes to an hour, you just got to do it essentially almost every day.
It is. You know? It is. It's super important, dude. And I feel you. I feel that, you know, it's like that with my own content, right? I mean, I've had multiple birthdays, celebrations, vacations, all this stuff. And I'm like, I didn't post anything, you know, because I'm so busy running everybody else's stuff. I don't have time for my own.
Yeah.
You know, which again, you have to make time for those things,
you
right?
Do. You really do.
Yeah. I mean, it's so important now. Like even websites. Yeah. I mean, they serve a purpose, but when you really think about it, right? Social is infinite, right? You can just keep going and going and going and going. A website it's a dead end, right? Yeah. You get there and you stop. I'm not saying it doesn't serve a purpose. I'm not saying there's not value because that's the world I come from, right? But anybody out there spending money on SEO, driving traffic to a site or anything like that, you'd be better off driving that traffic through social. First of all, your social already has SEO in it. Search anything right now. In your first 5 to 10 results, you're going to get Facebook and Instagram results. Yeah. Right? So you have SEO. You'd be better served having your web developer integrate a live feed from your social onto your website than you would spending money on SEO. Promise you that. Well,
then I need to do that because I pay a lot of money to my SEO that, you know, to kind of make it better, optimize it like it's supposed to. Yeah, we got to talk about that.
You'll become more relevant. You'll become more relevant to the search, tagging location in all of your posts, having other people, you know, when they make content or they say something about you, tagging your location or tagging, you know, if you're in Scottsdale, tagging Scottsdale as the location in there. It makes you more relevant to the search. Those meta tags, that being attached to your content, that being attached to your name, is going to bring you up in those results. That's why you search Scottsdale and, you know, all these different things come up, right? So same thing. True. So having that social integration is going to work better. It's free SEO, man. Yeah. It's free SEO. And honestly, people are finding you more on social than they're finding you on the internet. They'll go to the internet to validate, to verify, right? They want to see your reviews or things like that, right? Yep. But you don't need SEO for your reviews or anything like that. I would have to
say out of 100%, 92, 93% of all the patients that I treat, all of them are either from Instagram or Facebook. Those are the most. Occasionally TikTok, but occasionally Google, and that's about it. And the Google is the website type of thing. And I'm like, man, it's all social.
It is all man. Social. I'm telling you, it's like, it's the best tool available. And for anybody wondering, Instagram is the hub.
Yep. No,
I don't care what you're doing. It's the strongest funnels. It's the strongest conversion. Make Instagram your hub. I don't care if it's YouTube, if it's Patreon, anything that you have out there that you want to drive traffic to, use your stories.
And you know what Marky Mark's doing? Marky Mark's doing at Facebook. He's buying everybody that does anything with AI or trying to. Some of them he couldn't get. Yeah. But I mean, and not millions, billions of dollars.
What was that one contract? 200 million for that one developer?
Yeah, 200 million. It's 200 million, okay? But at the end, it's a 4-year deal worth over $1.something billion.
Right, come on, dude.
I mean, and there's this one, he offered something very similar to that. They're like, no, I'm gonna do my own thing. Which, hey, what's another zero? Man, what's another zero? Don't make nothing. You know, it was
crazy.
I want 100 billion. I'm like,
crazy,
God, man. But so I get it. I get it with, you know, he's doing the things that he needs to do to make Meta, which in turn makes Facebook and Instagram the best at what they do.
Yeah, man.
Well, man, nobody's giving me the red light, but I always want to say, hey, I'm getting the red light from my audience, which I've been a great audience. That being said, thank you so much for joining
Absolutely,
us.
man.
And
This
you,
was great,
brother,
dude.
you did, dude, that was awesome. There's so, I want to take notes and I can't write because I don't know if the camera's catching me. I'm trying to like get him so I can write down some stuff. But this is a great episode. You heard all those pearls. You know, if you can't hook up with this guy, find him on his Instagram, because man, he is the real deal. These are great pearls for you to kind of work with on your own social media. So tune in next week. I don't know what we're going to do, but it's going to be something good. So thanks for being here with us at Late Nights with Dr. G.
Appreciate you, man.